Index Card RPG Magic is a game supplement by Runehammer Games. Its principal artist and writer was Brandish Gilhelm, with additional writing by Kelsey Dion of Arcane Library. The Index Card RPG system, or ICRPG, was first published in 2017, born in the enthusiastic wake of a grassroots online community that originally followed the author and artist Brandish Gilhelm's cult favorite YouTube series. The game that followed and got polished by this community was a rules-light DIY tabletop game streamlined for fast, fun play. This supplement, Magic, is a further evolution of that system. It is more complex and rules-bound, and ultimately hands more power to the GM and players, while injecting the game with more volatility and outrageous moments. This book is dedicated to spellcasting, and thus the only kind of character you can make out of the supplement is a mage. Mages come in 8 different kinds, which are differentiated with one core game mechanic or another being tweaked for you. The choice at this stage will materially affect how you cast and what you cast generally. The next distinction for your mage is the class. This is also a commitment, which softly railroads you towards 3 out of 12 magic types. Though just like in the core ICRPG rules, class is still a malleable path throughout play. You can also choose or roll for your mage origin and mage destiny. These tables are not timid in terms of how important or potentially powerful your character is. True to ICRPG style, this book contains loot, lots of loot. In this case, it is a D100 table of magical loot. Since the core rulebook already contains 4 massive loot tables, including an epic loot table, the magical loot table here had to surpass quite a high bar in terms of creativity and power for the player. And even though it does so, what's important to know is why. ICRPG does not have a character level or experience point system. Instead, you are only as powerful as the loot you own. Thus, loot is not just dispensed for instant gratification to players, but rather as an important method of progression. Well, correction. You used to only be as powerful as your loot in ICRPG, but with the new rules in this book, spellcasters can achieve permanent mastery of any or all of the 12 magic types. Mastery of a magic type reduces the cost in hit points to cast any spell of that type. The only way for a player to gain mastery points is to play well, do well, roll well, or somehow demonstrate awesomeness at the table. This is, of course, GM's discretion. There is a maximum of 4 levels for every magic type, with level 4 being absurdly powerful and game-changing. There is another layer to magic here. Players can choose to cast any spell, regardless of level, at a power of 1 through 4. Doing so increases the effect of the spell, but also the cost, which is almost always paid in precious hit points. Rolling a 1 on a cast will result in having to roll on the failures table, and the penalties here can be completely disastrous for your character. The book includes simple guidelines for how to create your own spells within the general fence line of level 1 through 4. The advice offered in this section is of particular interest to many veteran ICRPG players who are naturally drawn to this game in the first place because of its open and customizable nature. Spells can be stored into potions, scrolls, and other vessels for later use. The common occurrence of this phenomenon can lead to interesting situations where players are creating extremely powerful sought-after items in their stored spells. Several pages are devoted to the cost, construction, and maintenance of your very own wizard's tower. Any such tower could also serve as the enemy lair or a general location, but the tables are skewed towards personal ownership. With these tools, you can quickly generate small quests and encounters centered around a tower. The book offers an expansive framework of networked planes of existence, whereas in the previous books, there was the fantasy land of Alfheim, the expansive space known as the world of the warp shells, and the heaven and hell Weird West setting of Ghost Mountain. Now, there are a total of 8 dimensions or realms. These realms each have a thematic designation, like the Shifting Sands dimension or the Realm of Wood, and each has a short list of mechanics that is in most cases harsh on the player, but it is up to the GM to fill the rest of these details. At the heart of this book are the 100 or so new spells. The ICRPG core book also comes with roughly 100 spells broken down into 2 piles, Intelligence and Wisdom. This book divides the new spells by type, of which there are 12. A starting mage will get 1 spell from 3 different types. Acquiring new spells is relatively hard. requiring that the player obtain the knowledge through hard-to-find items, rare boons, long study, etc. Often a player will need to find a rare ingredient, the acquisition of which can act as the basis of an entire game session. This barrier to getting new spells acts as a safety valve on the game, since many of the spells, even starting at level 1, are potentially devastating when cast at high power. The book includes 20 so-called entities, powerful enemies, or potential allies, that can be sprinkled into a campaign. The author clearly intended for these creatures to be very challenging to defeat in the normal course of business, and they are the answer to the very powerful spells that players can equip themselves with. Each of the entities is illustrated and equipped with several unique attacks and abilities. There are 4 adventures included at the end of the book. They are presented in an efficient and very accessible style, printable at 4 to 6 pages each, but carrying enough detail to cover either 1 or 2 game sessions per adventure. Something that has been included with ICRPG products since day 1 that is almost never seen from other publishers, large or small, are asset packs that you can print out or use in a virtual tabletop like Roll20 or Fantasylands. If you've made it this far in the video and you're still wondering why the core game is called Index Card RPG, it's because of these print and play sheets. The idea is that you print the art that comes with the book onto cardstock, cut them out, and use them at the table. It's a self-contained ecosystem that doesn't require the need to buy anything more. With the growth of online virtual tabletops, you can even save a few trees and play ICRPG Magic with friends online. This book's move towards more creative magic and deadly power seems like a natural progression for anyone who has put dozens or hundreds of hours into ICRPG. The fact is, this book makes ICRPG more complex in nature. That being said, after playing ICRPG Magic in earnest, the new rules for casting and spell mastery are not needlessly difficult. Compared to other immensely popular systems on the market, ICRPG is still rules light and fast at the table. I have to say that part of the game's appeal is the enthusiasm and creativity found in the game's community. The official Runehammer forum website is host to dozens of cool folks posting interesting things, and the author has created a Patreon level that allows for the most enthusiastic players to join a private Discord server, where there is beta testing, recruitment, deep game discussions, and actual gaming groups forming. The ICRPG core book is definitely required before you can enjoy this book, but if you're looking for a good mix of quick play, customizability, and crazy jaw-dropping moments at your table, I highly recommend this whole system kit and caboodle. Magic scratches a huge itch for anyone whose wheelhouse is the casting of spells. The links for everything are below. I appreciate you listening and watching. This is Dave signing off. See ya.